Welcome to a new week here on the Retirement Quick Tips podcast. I'm your host, Ashley Micciche. One of the things I love about being a financial advisor is that I get to peek into the financial lives of many different people, even before they become a client. Because one of the first things that I always request from a potential new client is a copy of their investment account statements, among other things. I want to see how they're invested. What account types do they have? Within those accounts, how are they invested? How long have they owned a particular investment? I can tell a lot from an account statement. And sometimes I see investments in there that trouble me, for lack of a better word. But I have to be delicate because I don't know if this person decided to purchase this on their own. Like, was it their idea? Was it recommended by an insurance salesperson, another financial advisor? So I have to get the backstory sometimes on why someone is invested the way that they are. And occasionally it's a bit of an uncomfortable conversation because I don't want to be the person to tell them that this investment that they own is absolutely terrible and inappropriate for them. But sometimes that's a delicate conversation that I have to have. So what qualifies as a bad investment, at least in my book? Generally, it's going to check one or more of the following boxes. Number one, it's expensive. High fees is always going to be a drag on returns. There's just no getting around that. And any investment with high fees is generally sold by an advisor who either didn't know any better or had some disordered incentives. Sometimes advisors have a certain quota to meet. Their company is pushing proprietary products. So they're encouraging them, hey, if we expect you to sell this number of whatever it is. Or they have a commission-based structure where they could recommend a pretty plain vanilla portfolio of stocks, bonds, ETFs, mutual funds, etc. But they put you in this really expensive product that pays them a big fat commission, sometimes in the high 5 figures as a one-time commission, depending on the amount that you're investing. It could be higher than that, but you might think your advisor's getting paid $1,000, where it's more like, well, it's like $25,000, $30,000 for them to sell you that. Does that change their incentive structure? Yes. The second box that it must check is it's risky. But a lot of times it's not risky on the surface. Like, it's wrapped in this veil of safety. And I see many people, especially retirees, buy investments that have a high income stream because they want that income. It has a high yield. It sounds safe, but high yield or high income, especially one that is significantly higher than the prevailing going rate or what interest rates are at that time, big red flag. Those things do not go together. High yield, high income equals high risk. But a lot of times these products are sold, or these investments are sold as being low risk and safe when they're not. So if you want a high yield or high income, there is no free lunch, and that comes with risk. The third thing that makes it so that I don't like an investment, I think they're terrible for retirees, are when they are illiquid. You cannot sell it easily when you want to. There are so many investments that check this box, and it's one of the main pillars or principles that I follow when investing clients' money is that it is important to me, and it should be important to most of you for most of your investment portfolio. It doesn't have to be all of it, but for pretty much everything that you own, you should be able to access that when you want to, sell it when you want to, and not have to have like a stiff penalty or have to sell it at a fire sale price because there's no secondary market where you can sell it. So if you want to or need to sell, a lot of times with these illiquid investments, you just can't. You can't. You will literally be told too bad. And that's a bad idea for many retirees because unless you're wealthy enough and you have plenty of liquid assets elsewhere, you just can't afford that illiquidity. So this week on the podcast, I'll be talking about the specific investments that check one or more of these boxes, what I think are the worst investments for retirees, the one I've seen backfire and burn people. I've seen this. It's not just in theory. I've actually seen this happen. Thankfully, not at my recommendation, but it is still devastating nonetheless. And it's something that actually reminds me of one of my favorite quotes from the great American classic, Tommy Boy. I've seen this movie too many times. I've spent a lot of summers of my childhood watching this movie, but it's incredible. It's great. And it reminds me, this week's topic reminds me of one of my favorite quotes from that movie.
But why do they put a guarantee on the box then?
Because they know all they sold you was a guaranteed piece of shit. That's all it is, isn't it?
All right. If you're new to the podcast, a little bit about me. I'm a financial advisor and co-owner of True North Retirement Advisors, a fee-only fiduciary financial advisory practice managing over $450 million in client assets. For 17 years, I've helped clients retire with confidence, and on this podcast, I turn all the complex retirement questions into clear answers, and I do that in just a few minutes every single day, so you can spend less time stressing about money and more time living and enjoying your retirement. Thanks for joining me this week. If you know someone who'd be interested in this week's topic, please share the show. And if you have a burning question about your own retirement, you can check out my website, truenorthra.com. There, you can book a free 15-minute call with me about anything on your mind regarding retirement. All right, come on back tomorrow. I'm going to start with a very controversial investment that I actually hate for retirees. And one, I'm going to get some hate messages for this one. It is residential investment properties, rental duplex, residential real estate properties. That's not your primary home. But before you come with your pitchforks and torches, just hear me out, okay? All right, my name is Ashley Micciche, and this is the Retirement Quick Tips Podcast.